Hey, what's up everybody? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, and you are now tuned in to the daily vlog series. It is Wednesday, January 31st. This is episode 88, and let me tell you guys, we got a lot of news on the docket today, so let's go ahead and jump right into things. Okay, so the very first story of the day is the HTC Vive Pro. Now, we know the HTC Vive Pro is supposedly coming in the first quarter of 2018. Today is the final day of January. We are about to enter February tomorrow, and we know that the HTC Vive Pro is coming relatively soon. But another thing that you might want to understand is be prepared for some serious sticker shock when it comes to the price of the HTC Vive Pro. So this goes to a story that Road to VR had. Okay, so Road to VR has a story about how the HTC Vive Pro is being targeted at prosumers, okay? Prosumers, not your average, everyday, regular consumer, but a prosumer, basically professionals and consumers that are looking for near professional level kind of equipment. That's what this is targeted to, and that this will be more expensive than the standard Vive. So apparently VR AR expert Anthony Vatillo, also known as Scarred Ghost, had an interview with Vive China president Alvin Wang Graylin, and Graylin hinted at a much higher price point for the HTC Vive Pro. In fact, I do have a quote from the Road to VR article. This is Alvin Wang Graylin. Here's what he had to say on the subject. I can't give you any specifics, but I will say that in the very near future, pricing information will be released, said Graylin. I think at that point you'll have all your questions answered. Of course, as you said earlier, it is a product targeted at the prosumer or the professional user. As with any product targeted towards a professional user, it will be more expensive than the existing consumer product. So that is the information that we get out of this report. And basically what I think we can say right now is the $350 rumor that we originally heard about is absolutely bogus. That was probably just wishful thinking by somebody out there trying to kind of guesstimate where it might be. That's not going to happen. Based on these comments, it is fairly obvious that this is not being targeted at any kind of mass market consumer situation here. So I believe what's going on here is the regular HTC Vive is going to continue to be produced in large quantities because that is the primary Vive that is going to be sold to most consumers out there. And then this HTC Vive Pro is more of this higher level version, this more high-end version to try to capture this high-end prosumer market with developers and people that are working on stuff like this that need a higher end headset. Remember, we talked about the business to business possibilities. We talked about BMW and car manufacturers and stuff that were businesses that might be buying a lot of VR headsets to try to show things off to their partners and stuff and be able to show things off with a higher resolution VR headset, make things look a little bit better. So it doesn't appear that this is really being targeted to your everyday consumers. The price is going to be a lot higher. What kind of price are we talking about here? Well, I remember I was kind of wondering $499. Could that be a possibility? Well, honestly, if you realize the fact that this new HTC Vive Pro headset is going to have to include a link box and the cable that goes to the link box, and of course the power cord that goes with the link box and all of that, you figure all of that is coming with the headset as well. Sure, there's not going to be any base stations that are going to be included. There's not going to be any controllers that are going to be included, but the price could easily be $599 just for the headset. Yeah, I seriously would not be shocked after I've been hearing all of these reports we could have a situation where for the exact same price, you could pick up an entire full HTC Vive package if you go with the standard Vive, or for that exact same price, you can get the standalone HTC Vive Pro headset for $599. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if we're looking at a price like that. I think $499.99 for just the headset is probably the lowest price you'll possibly see with this. We are being prepared right now for sticker shock, and I think there's going to be a healthy dose of sticker shock for a lot of VR gamers that were planning to immediately upgrade to the HTC Vive Pro. This might catch them a little bit off guard, and people might think, maybe I'm not going to jump into the HTC Vive Pro quite so fast. So that is the number one story of the day. Let's go ahead and bounce to story number two. Story number two is Transference. Now, you might remember this game, Transference. It is coming from Spectravision. It is being published by Ubisoft. Now, this is that Elijah Woods product where Elijah Woods and a handful of other Hollywood luminary types got together and formed a company called Spectravision with the idea that they were going to take advantage of this revolution in virtual reality and augmented reality that is about to take place. And so they formed this company, and they were going to start working on some interesting projects that could kind of leverage this and take advantage of this. And the first project that was coming was Transference. We don't know a ton about this game. Still, the trailer for this game shows limited information, so we don't have a lot of information on this game. But the reason this is in the news is because if you go to the Steam page for Transference, any mention of virtual reality seems to have been completely wiped off the page. So there is no mention of virtual reality anywhere on the Transference Steam page. Now, does this mean that Transference no longer supports VR? We're not sure. What this could mean is that Transference is being broadened out into a flat game and a VR game. This game was supposed to come to PlayStation VR. It was supposed to come to the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift. You got to remember, there is a PlayStation VR trailer for Transference. This is supposed to be a VR game. So at this point in time, I am not willing to say that this is no longer a VR game and that it's turned into a flat game. In fact, I'll go out on a limb and say that if anything, I think the entire project would be canceled rather than it come out as merely a flat game. Because do you really think in the flat game market that Transference is going to stand out and be some huge selling game? I think this has to be a VR game or possibly an AR game. And I don't see the chances that VR is completely being wiped under the rug as far as this game is concerned. I think it's a more likely scenario that the entire game would be canceled rather than VR would be removed. So basically, this one is in the rumor category. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but it definitely is something we're going to keep our eyes on. And hopefully we'll get some kind of word from either Spectravision or Ubisoft on this. I'm sure Road to VR, Upload VR, and many other outlets are probably reaching out to these companies to try to get some type of clarification on Transference. Another story we want to go to is the very first pictures of the Oculus Go Dev Kits have leaked out onto the internet. I mean, it's not really a leak, but the first pictures are out there. So we now have pictures of what the Oculus Go Dev Kit looks like. Obviously, the Dev Kit is starting to find its way into the hands of developers who are going to be working on projects for the Oculus Go. And one of the interesting things about this is looking at the pictures of the Oculus Go Dev Kit, it almost looks like this is just a standard retail packaging that you would find at, say, Best Buy for the actual retail version of the Oculus Go. It says standalone, it says 32 gigabytes on it, it says Oculus Go, and it has a number of pictures on there kind of showing upcoming games and upcoming different programs that are going to be available for the Oculus Go. And it does say on there, it mentions 1,000 plus apps games and movies, and we see logos for Netflix, logos for Hulu, logos for the New York Times, logos for the Body VR, logos for Fox Sports VR, Discovery, Ultra Wings, so apparently there will be an Ultra Wings version for Oculus Go, Ocean Rift, there will be a version of that for the Oculus Go, Answer Wars 2, Rush, and it looks like a Jurassic World experience is also going to be coming to Oculus Go. We see little logos for all of that, so we do know about all of that. And if you go to the Oculus subreddit, where a lot of people are talking about these pictures that have come out for the Oculus Go, it's funny because when you get into these actual threads, most of the discussion is actually centering around the fact that the 32 gig version of the Oculus Go, supposedly these Oculus Go headsets do not have any type of SD card slot on there anywhere to add expanded memory. You are stuck with the 32 gigs of memory. At least that's how we understand it right now. Now, there could be a possibility. I believe there is a USB plug somewhere on the Oculus Go, so there could be the possibility that you could have a USB thumbstick to provide additional storage space, but we don't have any kind of confirmation of that at all. But most people are talking about this 32 gig version, and there's kind of this sentiment out there that this 32 gig version is probably the $199 version that we hear so much about, but that maybe it's almost being positioned in such a way where you have the 32 gig version that is $199, but it's almost like Oculus and Facebook are deliberately steering you towards the 64 gig version, which could end up costing as much as $100 more. It could be $299 for the 64 gig version. So it could be one of these situations where, yeah, technically you can get this for $199, but no one's going to buy that 32 gig version. You really need the 64 gig version. That could be a possibility. There's lots of discussion going on about internal storage when it comes to the Oculus Go, but it is definitely nice to see pictures of all this, to see what looks almost like the retail packaging. So Oculus Go should be arriving relatively soon. Remember, we heard this is a first half 2018 product, and it is exciting in terms of how this could broaden the reach of VR in general. So we're definitely looking forward to that. That is the Oculus Go Dev Kit. And then today, just before taping the show, Kin is on the Oculus Store. So do you guys remember Kin? This is a platformer, K-I-N. It is a platformer that is coming from House of Secrets, which you might remember. This is the developer Arjen van Merten. He is the guy from the Netherlands that made that music video Surge VR, one of the best non-game experiences that you could possibly try. It is absolutely free. I highly recommend everybody out there go ahead and try Surge VR. It was created by House of Secrets. House of Secrets has made some other VR productions as well, but as far as I'm aware, this is their first fully featured game, and it is available today. This is a platformer. It is very colorful. It has an interesting look, an interesting style. It is available on the Oculus Store today for $15. I'm one of these people that believe that let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to third-person VR experiences. I've played Chronos. I've played Edge of Nowhere. I've played Bound on PlayStation VR. I've played Robots Rescue on PlayStation VR, and I'm absolutely convinced that third-person VR gaming definitely has its place in the overall VR market. And lots of people are like, oh, that's third person, I don't want to play it. Well, if that's your attitude, you're just missing out on a lot of great stuff. I mean, just consider Lucky's Tale. How good of a game is Lucky's Tale? How bright and colorful and magical is a game like Lucky's Tale? Lucky's Tale, of course, has been available since the very launch of the Oculus Rift, and we really haven't had another very specific platformer that has hit the Oculus Oculus Rift, but Kin is available today. So it's very interesting to see how this game will shake out and how the first reviews will hit from Kin. It is available for $15. So if you're interested, go ahead and pick that game up. Let us know what you think about it in the YouTube comments. Couple more quick little stories before we bounce out of here is the persistence for PlayStation VR has been dated. This is coming on July 24th. A brand new trailer for the game has also been released, celebrating the release date of the game. Now, if you go back to last year, the funny thing about the persistence is I remember when this game had a third quarter 2017 release date. In fact, it might have been supposedly coming out in June of 2017 or July of 2017. Of course, it obviously didn't make those release dates. And then we postulated, well, maybe this game is coming in the fourth quarter of 2017. Maybe Sony is kind of holding this game back so that they have a pretty big game to release in the fourth quarter of 2017. Obviously, that didn't happen. Now we find out that it's coming out this summer on July 24th. So it's almost an entire 1 year delay, unless we just got bad information that first time and it was never going to come out anywhere near that time. But this game is coming from Fire Sprite. This is a roguelike type of game. It's a game where you will die and then you have to start over and you're like a completely different person. It's this roguelike gameplay. We've tried the demo of this. I think the graphics are very good. I think it's very atmospheric. It looks very interesting. So this could be an interesting game to check out later this summer. You can actually pre-order this game right now. And if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you get a 10% discount. Now, I was looking for the pre-order price for this game. I can't find any USA-based pricing, but in Europe, this game is going for £25. That's the normal price for the game. But if you pre-order it, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you can pre-order this for £22.49. We don't have any US pricing yet, but that could possibly shake out to a $29.99 US price, maybe a $34.99 US price, or possibly $39.99 for the US price. Somewhere around there is probably what we're looking at for the persistence. This does look to be an exciting summer release for the PlayStation VR, so that's definitely good news for PSVR owners, especially in the doldrums of summer, to have a big game like this. Now, speaking of other PlayStation VR games that people have been waiting for, what about Obduction? Now, Obduction is available on PlayStation 4, but that is the flat version. We've heard for the longest time that a PSVR version of Obduction is coming as well, but a lot of people have wondered, it's been so long, has it been canceled? Are we ever going to get a PSVR version of Obduction? Well, Cyan Incorporated has recently updated and let their fans know that the game is still on the way. The PlayStation VR game, the PlayStation VR version of the game is alive and well. And right now, it is basically going through Sony's VR certification process. And what they're basically telling their fans is, look, we understand you guys have been waiting for this for a long time. We want to let you guys know this is going through the VR certification process. We don't know how long this process is going to take. Hopefully not very long, but you know, we're at the mercy of Sony basically when it comes to this. And assuming that it makes it through the certification process, then the game will arrive shortly thereafter for PlayStation VR owners. So a lot of people are excited about the PSVR version of Obduction. The game has reviewed quite well on both the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift, and so we're definitely looking forward to see how the PlayStation VR version of the game will fare. Okay, so that's pretty much going to wrap it up for episode 88 of the show. Of course, today is Wednesday, January 31st, and I will see everybody on tomorrow's episode on Thursday. See everybody tomorrow. Take it easy. Later.